Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Muhammad Hafiz Farhan bin Roni and I am from class BA1185GA.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nur Shalana binti Shahruddin. My matrix number is 2019421564 and I am from group BA1185GA.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Narafisa Zuhaira binti Mama ID. My matrix number is 2019254332. I am from group BA1185GA.
Defamation is not defined under the Defamation Act. Instead, the term defamation is defined in Malaysian and English case law. The Civil Law Act 1956 Section 3 applies the Defamation Common Law of England as of 7 April 1956. Defamation is the release of information to a third party that is likely to harm a person's reputation. In other terms, defamation is the publishing of a remark that damages a person's reputation by making right-thinking members of society shun or avoid him. Defamatory statements concerning a man's office, profession, calling trade, or a company may be made. A lack of ability, inaptitude, and dishonesty or fraud are examples of imputable qualities. Defamation requires a false allegation made to someone other than the person defamed. Some common law countries differentiate between verbal defamation and written defamation. Anwar Ibrahim's reputation and integrity have been tarnished by Khairi Jamaluddin's remarks. In order to win this case, the plaintiff Anwar Ibrahim have filed a defamation claim against the defendant Khairi Jamaluddin. The plaintiff can be defined as a person who brings a case against another in a court of law. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is a plaintiff in this case. In the case Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim versus Khairi Jamaluddin, the plaintiff sued the defendant for defamation based on certain words allegedly spoken by the defendant in a political speech he made during the 12th Malaysian election campaign general election. The reason that the plaintiff sued the defendant is that statement can damage and degrade the family and as a politician. In addition, the political gathering was organized by the ruling party Barisan Nasional (BN), and the defendant was one of the speakers at the political gathering. You can see at paragraph 3 of the defense. At the material time, the plaintiff was an advisor to the Keadilan Rakyat Party (PKR). Both the plaintiff and the defendant are prominent politicians in the political landscape of Malaysia. The applicant's credentials and achievements are as set out in paragraph 1 and 2 of the Statement of Claim (SOC). A defendant is a person accused of committing a crime in criminal prosecution or a person against whom some type of civil relief is being sought in a civil case. Terminology varies from one jurisdiction to another. For this case, Khairi Jamaluddin as the defendant has issued a statement inviting the suit. The statement already allows the plaintiff to make defamation to the defendant because this statement is already tarnishing one's dignity. In this case, the defendant has pleaded proposed lesser meaning and seeks to rely on a set of facts and circumstances to support his plea of justification based on a lesser meaning. The lesser meaning that the defendant seeks to suggest in the present context is that the word in question only conveys the meaning of the word in question. In addition, the plaintiff tends to play out his political partners or betray his political partners. It has been contended for the defendant that it should be permitted to rely on the lesser meaning of the contested words, since, if taken literally, the plaintiff would be able to sodomize past and DAP, both of which are political parties, and the phrases would be illogical and absurd.
Innuendo is a type of defamation that includes insulting statements or actions with an indirect, hidden, or extended meaning. In this case, the contested word has a concealed connotation that can be classed as offensive and defamatory of him, bringing the plaintiff's reputation into contempt. It meant and was understood that, first, the plaintiff had done carnal intercourse against nature with the same type of gender, which is a great offense as defined under Section 377A and 377D of the Penal Code, punishable with imprisonment and whipping. Second, the plaintiff have involved with homosexual. Third, the plaintiff is a pervert or lacks moral. Fourth, the plaintiff is a threat to society. Fifth, the plaintiff is not qualified to occupy any political position or office. And lastly, number 6, the plaintiff possesses criminal tendencies. In defamation, there are 4 ways of defamatory statements being made, such as writing, verbally, pictorially, and gesture. In this case, the way of verbally defamatory can be proven where the plaintiff has sued the defendant for defamation based on certain comments illegally stated by the defendant during a political speech he gave during the 12th Malaysian general election campaign. Moreover, the defendant launching campaign machinery for various youth divisions in UMNO. The defendant reportedly said something derogatory about the plaintiff during one of the launches. Those terms, in the usual meaning, imply that the plaintiff participated in homosexual behavior and, as a result, exposed the plaintiff to hate, scorn, and contempt in the minds of reasonable people, or would dehumanize the plaintiff in the eyes of a typically sane person.
The plaintiff, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim lawsuit against Khairi Jamaluddin, the defendant, was approved by High Court Judge Azizul Azmi Adnan, who found the defendant liable for defamation. The court concluded and ordered the defendant to pay the plaintiff Rm150,000 in general damages. The defendant will also be liable to the plaintiff for interest at a rate of 5% per annum from 30 September 2017 until satisfaction on the sum of the amounts Rm150,000 and rate 4% per annum, the remain unpaid, as well as costs of Rm60,000 for these proceedings and a sum of 5,000 for the prior proceeding before the federal court. The defendant filed an appeal against the High Court judgment, but it was rejected by the Court of Appeal in February 2018. The defendant obtained leave to appeal from the Federal Court in April 2019 after the Court of Appeal dismissed his appeal because the notice of appeal was unclear. The Federal Court granted the defendant's request for his case to be reheard on the merits at the Court of Appeal on December 15, 2020. Last but not least, the defamation lawsuit between Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and Khairi Jamaluddin is still ongoing in court till now. To summarize, we learned several lessons while preparing this defamation report, one of which is that every country has laws prohibiting us from just defaming people. We must be cautious in our actions so that we do not do anything that could be regarded as defamation if the situation is not accurate, whether verbally, pictorially, gesture, or in writing. There must be 2 parties in every defamation case, the plaintiff and the defendant. The plaintiff is someone who files a lawsuit against another person in a court of law. and the defendant is someone sued or accused in a court of law. In the case we choose, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is a plaintiff and Khairi Jamaluddin is a defendant. During a political event, the election campaign for the 12th Malaysian general elections, Khairi Jamaluddin verbally defamed Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim in his speech. Khairi Jamaluddin has made a statement to Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim that has hurt his feelings and ruined his reputation. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim responded by filing a defamation suit against Khairi Jamaluddin. In this case, the defamatory statement made by Khairi Jamaluddin is a type of innuendo defamation. For the time being, the court has ordered the defendant to pay the plaintiff interest at a rate of 5% per annum from September 30, 2017 until satisfaction on the sum of the unpaid amounts of Rm150,000 as well as costs of 60,000 for these proceedings and a sum of 5,000 for the prior proceedings before the federal court. The defamation case between Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and Khairi Jamaluddin is still pending and will be heard in court to the next date.